I'm Dr. Tammy Hotchkiss, and I'm an archaeologist, and I work as the curator at the Origin Centre Museum at Wits University. And we have a whole range. We work with the Kitching Fossil Gallery as well, so with paleontologists. So we have things from fossils from millions and millions of years ago, hundreds of millions of years ago, and fossils and dinosaurs going all the way through to recent history. So at Origin Centre we deal with the origins of art and the origins of humans and what it is to be human. And South Africa and Africa has an amazing past, an amazing prehistoric past and historic past that we want to celebrate. We've had a lot of people, and it's been really nice responses, and really nice to see that a lot of people know about some of the finds in the cradle, like the Homo naledi and some of the recent finds, and know about stone tools and ostrich eggshell and things like that. And there's been a lot of excitement. We also have a virtual reality headset that you can put on that people have really enjoyed seeing. And that puts you inside a rock art painted shelter or inside a research lab, and it's been lots of fun. I think people have really enjoyed it, and just being able to touch real objects and touch a real fossil or a real stone tool, it's been cool. So we have an excavation pit here, so you can actually see, and you can actually see what the excavation is like, kind of. And slowly try and encourage the kids to dig with a paintbrush and see what you can find. Make sure you don't miss anything like little beads and seeds. We have some colouring in dinosaurs and dot-to-dot dinosaurs, just to learn more about dinosaurs and have a bit of fun. And you can win a dinosaur poster which talks about the dinosaurs of Africa. Because I think a lot of people know about dinosaurs and maybe know about T-Rex and all the American dinosaurs, but there's so many amazing dinosaurs from Africa that people don't know about. We have a lot of objects that people can touch, so you can touch a real fossil and you can touch some of the objects and bones and learn about the different animals and things. I'm amazed, and the coolest part about KidsCon is that there's so many things to do, and you don't have to pay for each one, which is really nice. It's just kids can explore all these different things, and they're not all digital. It's not only behind a screen, so it's a really nice mix of hands-on stuff and not. And no, it's been really cool. And then going into the other halls and the actual Comic-Con side has also been amazing. There's just so much and so much talent and artists, and it's very cool. It's been inspiring. No, Deadpool's pretty cool. I like Deadpool. Hey, I'd go. So we're at Wits University in Braamfontein, at the top of East Campus, and yeah, so we call the Origin Centre Museum. So you go into Wits University campus, and then the Kitching Fossil Gallery is right next to us in the same building. So you can find us on Facebook and on our website. It's www.wits.ac.za/origins. But just Google Origin Centre and you'll find it.
Thank you so
Cool.
much.
Awesome.
So here, this is part of our outreach program. We're just sort of showing the public, all the things we study, trying to get people excited in it. In South Africa, 2/3 of our total land area has fossils in it. It's fossiliferous. You're never too far from a fossil site, and we have from like really earliest days of life right up to your like human ancestors, who are like really recent things. And a lot of people just don't know that. People often don't understand the full sequence of life's evolution. It's something that I think we often struggle to communicate, mainly because the media portrays dinosaurs explicitly and then your human ancestors, but there's a lot in between that. Like I myself, I work on a group of animals that are closely related to crocodiles, who were like quite dominant land animals prior to the dinosaurs' evolution. And a lot of people don't know about that stuff. They don't know that South Africa has that stuff, and I think we do sometimes struggle to portray that information to people. I do believe that the study of the evolution of life, particularly when we're studying things like extinction events, how they function, how they operate, can help us a lot in understanding modern day ecological problems and wider scale issues like our current climate change crisis. And I mean, look, I think at the end of the day, yes, it is. It's an academic field. It has an educational and common interest value more than a practical utilization. But you know, I think for me, speaking purely for myself, just being passionate about it is enough to keep me going as a researcher. Yeah.
I'm Ian Mackay. I'm a researcher at the Evolutionary Studies Institute, and with my portfolio it's outreach. So I'm an education and outreach specialist. And my passion is to bring South Africans back into museums. You know, we have natural history museums all over the country, and people just don't visit them. So at Wits, for example, we have got fossils, an archaeology museum, we've got a wonderful art museum, but not nearly enough visitors. I think that they just don't know much about museums and what's in them, and it's not part. When they were growing up, they were never taken to a museum, so they don't think of going to a museum on the weekend instead of doing something else. So by bringing schools into our paleo museum and having education programs and showing them that fossils can be fun, I'm hoping they'll go home and tell mom and dad and say, hey, we must go and visit a museum this weekend. So increase the number of people at museums. Well, I think media at Rage, for example, is, and so you bring your museum to the people, and then you can show them the kind of things that we have and that they could see if they visited a museum, and they're interesting activities. So that's my hope, that by going out to people, you can attract them to the museum.
Have you guys thought about making like a video game or something?
We'd love to, and we have got like.
I mean, there's a lot of local developers around here.
Yeah.
Talk today.
Yes, I was actually walking around, and we're thinking of the Origin Centre's got a very nice virtual reality experience. You can look and you can kind of be in a rock shelter, and that's a start. But yes, we are planning some sort of experience. Maybe kind of you could look at a fossil and then you could see what it looked like if you look at that fossil and then put flesh on it. You look at it through your camera phone, and then and when you look at the fossil, you get flesh on it or something like that.
Something like an AR or VR game.
Yeah. I'd love to do a time traveling one where you go back in time and you kind of you start a zoo, in the present, and so you've got to go and collect your animals and bring them here, and then they can maybe run amok or something like Jurassic Park. I don't know. I think it's logistics, hey? Just moving this stuff around is not so easy, and it's also quite costly, and we operate like we have to basically raise our own funds. So it's just getting that funding and that sponsorship, and to especially pay people to help us and be here. And I think that's our biggest challenge is funding, really. I agree with you. I mean, I think, for example, if you want to understand climate change, if you haven't got this idea that we live on an old earth and that the climate's been changing all the time, then I can see how you can kind of start to say, well, why do we have to worry about it? It's kind of not real, and it's all just like a propaganda trick by people. But when you kind of work with us, like with millions of years, you can go back, you can see there was a time on Earth where there were no ice caps, and half of Africa and North America were flooded completely, and then there was another time when it was almost completely covered with ice. And that's really cool, that perspective of time. So my research specifically in paleontology is on 90-million-year-old insects that lived at the time of the dinosaurs. And these are teeny little things, but if you look at them under the microscope, you can kind of see the wings and the spots, the color patterns that they had. So they they were the same size as ones today. I mean, it's not true that all insects that lived long ago were like super giant. There were some big ones, but they're just many interesting ones, and some look like ones you would find crawling around today. But the others that are like, wow, what is this thing? They haven't even got names. And so that's really cool. And so, we're going to give them names, describe them. And our fossils are inside the Origin Center. So they all rock art and archaeology, and we next door. And we've got to find a way to fit all this stuff back in there. But what we have got are some really cool original South African fossils. And over the road in our institute there's a prep lab, and you can see how you get fossils out of the rock. And there's so much just to learn and experience. I'd say life is change. Okay?
Life is change.
And you see it. There's no better place to see it than if you look at fossils and see how life has changed over time.
Okay, thank you so much for joining me.
It's a pleasure.